A Challenges and Kisses, Chapter 14 by Ravendagger. One Final Kiss. Three taps rang out as the colt hit the door, the sound reverberating across the empty, desolate street before being drowned out by the faraway sound of a heavy bass. Nervously, and with more than a little self-consciousness, Featherweight hopped down the steps leading to the wooden door and waited. The bouquet of carefully picked flowers he had sagged under their own weight, prompting him to tilt his head awkwardly to one side. With a shuddering breath, the young stallion started taking items off his mental checklist. I have my suit on. I took a shower this week. I have flowers from Miss Roseleg's shop. And I have some spare bits in case. And he glanced for the 50th time to the numbers hanging beside the seemingly massive door. Yep, it's the right address. He patiently stared at the door as he waited with mounting anticipation for the mare of his dreams to step out. The handle turned with a creaking and grinding that was pure joy to Featherweight's ears, as he lifted the tip to his hooves and unknowingly allowed his wings to flutter recklessly at his side. With a single whoosh, the door opened, allowing a wedge of blinding, artificial light to burn the image of a pretty golden mare into his eyes to the colt. Stepping out, Scootaloo descended the first two steps, her silky robes swaying around her as the last rays of the sun illuminated both her resilient coat and her dark purple mane. She's so pretty, he thought as his mind reeled, trying to capture every last nuance of the image, from the tiny speck of blush on the filly's face to the tiny silver brooch clipped to her mane, the latter holding her hair back and away from her eyes in a stylish coupe. Stupid dress! I'd rather go naked to wear this thing, was the first thing he said, the almost spiteful undertone snapping Featherweight back to reality, even as the filly blinked down. Oh, you're here? He found himself standing, slack-jawed, in front of a very pretty Scootaloo, with a bouquet of flowers at his hooves. Behind her was the very simple house in which the filly presumably lived. This is harder than I imagined it. Nevertheless, I have to woo her. It's my last chance. I'm doing it for her. Right? Yeah, I just arrived. An hour and a half ago, and I just now got brave enough to knock. Maybe it's best he doesn't know. She looked at him, forehead wrinkling uncertainly. Well, why are you here? Weren't we going to be up at Flake instead? Well, he began, scratching his elbow. I thought it'd be more, you know. I know, she repeated, encouraging him to go on with the roll of her hoof. I thought it might be, you know, romantic, if I showed up at your door with flowers and escorted you. Didn't I say none of that mushy stuff? She asked, shooting a glare at him that didn't last. Thanks anyway, I guess. She hopped down the step with a tiny flutter of her delicate wings, landing just in front of him before bending down. What's she doing? He wondered as Scootaloo grabbed the bouquet, flower end first. Tossing it up, the filly began to munch on the petals of daffodils. It's corn! She said between loud and obnoxious chomps, chunks of petals and stems falling to the ground. He began, but chose not to question or even push the question of why she was eating the flowers. They were for her, so I guess that's okay. The colt stood there, a chill running down his spine, despite the jacket and warm sun beaming down on him. Maybe we should get going? I'm sure everybody's waiting for us at the gate. Scootaloo tittered quietly. Don't worry. I'm hardly known for my punctuality. And, worst case scenario, I could blame this stupid dress for slowing me down. She did a twirl, spinning around in a tight circle as she looked at her own flank. Featherweight swallowed hard as she completed the gesture, made suddenly around her features gracefully. No wonder I fell for her. Shouldn't we go then? She huffed. Yeah, I guess we should. The filly stared at the sun, the giant orb like a half-lidded eye as it sank into the horizon. It starts at sundown, right? That means we got plenty of time to get there before it begins. Without waiting for him, the filly trotted ahead, her hips swaying side to side as she made her way down the pathway, leading from her home to the nearby street. You coming? Not dumbly. Featherweight scared after her. This might be fun. I mean, it's my chance to rekindle my... No. Scootaloo's left for me. It's the right thing to do, right? Right! No. He shook his head, banishing a few stray thoughts into the far and deep corners of his mind. I had to be myself. Not act cool for her. Just be me for her. I don't need a mare who loves me for something I'm not. With a determined huff of his own, Featherweight strode ahead. Marcy got to the filly's side and keeping pace. Two sets of hooves clanked against the ground as they headed towards the center part of town, ignoring the few ponies dodging the edges of the street. I could be myself and strike up a conversation, right? So, the weather's sort of nice tonight, he said, looking up at the perfectly clear sky. Only a few puffy clouds dotted the sky with bright red-orange sides, the effects of the sun going to sleep. What's your favorite type of weather? Scootaloo rolled her eyes, sighed, and answered the question off hoof. Rainbow Dash says clear skies are fun to fly in. No crosswinds or clouds to gauge your speed with. I heard you could even fly through the toughest of storms and come out okay. So, who was your favorite Wonderbolt? Mike Spitfire. She's pretty fast and a great leader, too. Oh, my favorite's Rainbow Dash! But she's a Wonderbolt, he said. Scootaloo looked at the wing and pointed to the air. She's not a Wonderbolt yet, but when she is one, she'll be the best, the filly said, voice full of conviction and passion. Is Rainbow Dash all she ever thinks about? Featherweight prepared himself to ask about the multi-hued mare when, from the intersection ahead of them, a full group of colts and fillies ran out, laughing and playing with each other, as they all headed in the same direction. Ah, there's Sweetie and Saddleblue! Scootaloo exclaimed, not waiting a moment before charging ahead towards her two friends. Featherweight watched her go, a tiny well of frustration bubbling within him at her lack of attention. His gaze shifted from Scootaloo to Sleebell, before quickly and guiltily snapping over to Pipsqueak and the ever-present Chowder. A welcoming smile on his minuscule features, Pipsqueak waved his friend over, tie flopping around limply as his hoof rubbed against it. Hi, Feathers! Come on over, we're all heading in the same direction, aren't we? The colt asked aloud, as Featherweight began to cover the ground beneath him with long strides forwards. From the corner of his eye, the Pegasus noticed a certain white unicorn twisting her head around at the sound of his name. Hey, Pip! Hey, Chowder! He said as he slid up to his friends. How are you guys doing? Oh, we're okay, the small colt said. Charles a little under the weather, though. He pointed to the large gray earth pony beside him. I am not! The colt persisted, snapping a clatter from Pipsqueak. Featherweight took the opportunity to examine him. His dark brown mane was combed for once, and not a trace of chocolate was seen on his fat lips that was as red as his blushing face. Do you mind? You've got the case of a twisted mind. All you see is red, white, and candy canes. Pipsqueak teased the blushing colt, before giving him a mean smirk. Well, that's that nice, his twisty voice said, as the tiny mare strode out of her colt friend's shadow. Laughing at Chowder like that mean. Ah, so that's what she means. Pipsqueak giggled. Don't worry, Twist. You both know I was only trying to bug you guys. He turned his attention back to Featherweight, his face affixed with that permanent smirk. So, how goes your progress with Scootaloo? Featherweight sighed. Not that good. I can't seem to get her. Either that or she really doesn't care about me. I don't know if I even like her anymore, the way she's acting and all that. Ah, there's a certain little solution for that. For a while, the group walked on, Scootaloo and their friends laughing ahead of them, while others played an impromptu game of tag all across the busy street. More and more ponies were pouring in from every direction, all of them heading towards the same goal, with a glee and excitement that seemed to permeate the air. Let's find another filly. She's obviously not your type, or made for you. The Pegasus bit his lower lip. I don't know. It'd be rude just to dump her like that, right? And I think it might be best just to see how things go, he said, gaze shifting gently from Scootaloo to Sleebell before he gulped. See how things go, huh? That might work. We're the lucky ones, after all, Pipsqueak said. Featherweight's brow furrowed, both with confusion and with curiosity. What do you mean by the lucky ones? Well, mares. Have you seen the mare to stallion ratio on here? The moment the fillies realize that, there'll be easy pickings for us. Easy pickings? What a jerk! That's not how love works. Featherweight huffed. They're so easy to pick. Why don't you have a date? He shot back, a little louder than necessary. I'm going to say hi to the others. See you, Pip! Head held high, the Pegasus trotted ahead, gaining speed until he caught up with the three fillies in front of him. Now what? He wondered, as he kept pace behind Scootaloo, his attention inadvertently going to the banners and streamers hanging high into the street lights, arching from one rooftop to another. I mean, you showed up right at my door, Scootaloo said to her friends, head shaking from side to side. Why do cults have to be so mushy? I don't know. Cults are so weird. I mean, they're all so touchy, and they have all these feelings. They really should stallion up. Everbloom added, nodding sagely the entire time. At her right, Sweetbelle blushed, biting her lower lip as she looked away. I shouldn't have gone to her house. It was stupid. I'm such an idiot. Featherweight thought as he followed his voices to get farther and farther ahead of him. I shouldn't have gone anywhere near her house. I should have stuck to the plan. Meet her with the rest, and then be quiet all night. This is what I get for trying too hard. The Pegasus colt plodded onward, not even noticing the second clack of hooves, mirroring his own as he continued to beat himself eternally. I thought it was rather sweet, a soft demure voice at his side said, one that made the colt jump, his wings shooting out and fluttering in flight. Sweetbelle walked alongside him, her silent hoof falls hardly making a thump as she kept pace with him. Oh, I'm sorry, she said as he blinked at her. I didn't mean to startle you. It's just that you look sort of disturbed. No, it's fine, he replied, laughing her concern away. I'm fine. Then why do you look so sad? She asked before immediately recanting. No, it's not my business, sorry. Well, this is getting awkward fast, he thought, rubbing a wingtip on the nape of his neck. Yeah, I just have a hard time with all of this. He gestured ahead towards Scootaloo, the filly still trotting alongside Applebloom, both laughing at an unheard joke. Relationships are complicated. Yeah, I guess they are, she added, a quick sigh escaping her. Come on, Feather, change the topic. Glancing at his side, the Pegasus gave Sweetbelle a quick once over. She was dolled up, a thin layer of makeup on her wired and white face, giving her a permanent blush. On her was a simple dress made of a dozen slightly clipped layers of purple and white cloth running along her form, and ending in a simple skirt hanging a halfway along the ground. The arched hanging was bedecked in a bunch of patches of lace, and the occasional bow held together with stitches made by an inexperienced hoof. That's a nice dress you have, he said, hoping the compliment would lead the conversation elsewhere. Instead, the filly blushed madly. Thanks. It's not as nice as I would like to be, though. I made this for the last year's spring fling. Oh, and why didn't you make one for this year's? I was too busy with your suit, she admitted. Flushing red, she turned her attention away, as did the couple lazily making their way to the event, as if distraction would be out every importance in the world. Why is it every time I try to say something I put my hoof in my mouth? I should really learn to shut up more. I'm sorry. No! Sweetbelle exclaimed, stepping back to him as he inadvertently closed the gap between them. I made it for you, and I wanted you to have it. Please, don't feel sorry. The colt worked his jaw, trying to find something to say as he looked into her piercing green eyes, idly knowing that the essence of them were marred by a fine sliver of tears. Will you hurry up already? Scootaloo called out, pulling the attention of the couple away from each other and to the orange Pegasus. Scootaloo was standing near an archway leading to the front of Town Hall. The entirety of the wooden structure covered in fresh spring flowers glowing in the sunset. Big Magatos stood near the entrance, a beige and white mare pruning flowers nearby, as he watched over those entering with a silent and firm grace. I've been waiting for you since forever! The filly complained as he fluttered her wings in frustration. Oh, right, sorry. Featherweight excused himself as he trotted to her, saluting Sweetbelle an apologetic glance over his shoulder. It's fine. I'll see you later, the unicorn filly said, before adding, I hope, under her breath. Featherweight perked his ears at her, only hearing the faintest, undecipherable whisper of what she had said over the sound of 100 anxious ponies within the ball grounds. Arriving at Scootaloo's side, she stepped up beside him and led them through the archway. Immediately, all 5 of the colt's senses were assaulted in full force. On the town hall stage, A DJ was bobbing her shade-covered head to the tone of some quick, heart-pumping music, thumping along with a synchronized light show. On the stage, a temporary dance floor had been laid out. A corner square made of wooden planks covered in raving ponies of every sort. Beyond that, near Circuit Cube Corner, were two gigantic tables covered in free food. The aromas of freshly baked desserts and delicacies wafting in over to the hungry colt as his eyes kept roving. At another corner, Pinkie Pie was hopping around in gleeful circles as he oversaw a dozen party games, from pin to tail on the pony to competitive twister. Everywhere she went, the mare tossed candy to waiting foals, and had quick chats with every pony she met. "Wow," was the only thing he could think of to say. "Cool. I wonder where every pony's at?" Scootaloo asked, twisting her head from side to side as she searched. Near Circuit Corner, a group of young mares had gathered, all of them taking up a storm. In the center of that group was Rainbow Dash. The mare was trying her best to dominate the conversation. "Ah, cool!" Scootaloo said as he began to gallop towards her idol. "Wait!" Featherweight called out as he too sprinted forwards. Lincoln stretched in a gesture to stop the filly. Scootaloo slowed to a halt, her hostess quieting as he stalled in front of him and spun around. Eyes rolling, he was a caught light of a decorative lanterns. "What is it?" she asked curtly. "Well, Featherweight slowed to a halt, a few paces to her, letting out a single puff of air. "Aren't we supposed to be, together, since this is a date and all?" he asked, holding his wingtips together as he bit her lower lip. She sighed, the sound coming out as a single whistle of frustration. "All right, fine. You can come with me to see Rainbow, but don't hog her, all right?" "Sure!" With a quick smile, Featherweight slid up to the filly's side. "This isn't too bad, I guess. She's allowing me to be with her. Nonetheless, something's wrong." "I know what it is, don't I?" He looked at Scootaloo, practically seeing the single-minded determination she held. "No, not now." Spinning around, Scootaloo once more began to trot towards the shop, before freezing mid-stride. The group had dissipated. Rainbow was gone. "Oh, but I wanted to see her!" The filly whined, her face twisting into a teary-eyed pout. "Ah, don't worry!" Pinkie, a bubbly and intoxicated, joyous voice shouted as a pink flash landed at Scootaloo's side. Massive balloons thumping together over her. "I'm sure Rainbow Dash will be back in a dash!" The two foals blinked dumbly at Pinkie Pie. As the mare giggled and snorted at her chub. "Here, have a balloon. You always make me happy," she said, before grabbing one of her floating spears and expertly tying a string around Scootaloo's foreleg. "Here you go. Now, you two have a good time, and no hanky-panky under the stage." With that, the mare bounced away, leaving the two youngsters to stare at each other and blush. "I still blame you," Scootaloo said before sighing and giving up, her shoulders lurching forwards. "Come on, let's go get something to eat." "I have to do something. Something romantic, maybe. Actually, how about I get you something to eat? It's only proper," he asked, thinking as quickly as he gave her a curt brow. "You could wait near the table, perhaps?" One of her eyebrows rose as a shrug, the gesture rippling through her breezy dress. "Sure, why not?" With that, the filly looked around, spotted dozens of mostly unoccupied tables shed out of Circuit Cube Corner, and made a beeline for them. Featherweight watched her go, feeling as if a pile of bricks had been removed upon him, as Scootaloo got further and further away. "She's so feisty, not calm or reasonable at all. Did I really make the right choice? Regardless, I asked her out, and I had to stay with her. Wouldn't be fair to just ditch her like that." The call headed to one of the buffet tables, the only one not covered in candies, pastries, or other ease. With an absent mind, he picked up a tray and placed 2 bowls on it, which he quickly filled with tiny salads, tiny triangle-cut sandwiches, and other delicacies of the average party. He spun around and headed towards the tables, avoiding a bustling crowd of giddy partygoers as he made his way to Scootaloo. "Maybe a romantic dinner will help?" Scootaloo sat in the farthest seat, her eyes focused on the burning candle, the flame reddening her visage with flickering motion of a phantom as he slid the tray in front of her. "Here you go, madame. I hope you enjoy your meal," he said with as much enthusiasm as he could muster. Without waiting for the colt to sit, Scootaloo dove head first into her plate. bits and pieces of her meal splattering across her face. Not the cleanest of eaters, but at least she's not picky. Ow, ew! She backpedaled on the spot. It was flying out like a machine gun as she pressed her plate across the table. Cucumbers! Those are nasty! Or maybe not, he sighed. How could you feed me those? She asked, spitting the offending green fruit on the table. Those are nasty! Are you trying to kill me? Of course not! I just wanted us to have a good time! She harumphs. Whatever, I'm not even hungry anymore. She leaned her head on her hoof, the balloon string playing in her mane. So, what should we do next? I don't know. What do you wish to do? The filly hummed, her eyes roving over the entire dance floor, where dozens were hopping to the beat of a heavy bass. We could dance, I guess. She looked up at him, a twinkle in her eye and a mischievous smile up to her lips. If you're up to it. Instead of giving a straight-up answer, Featherweight slid off his seat, walked around the table, and pulled her chair back, allowing the filly to help out. You first, milady. Giggling, Scootaloo led the way to the crowd of chairs, tables, and ponies straight into the dance floor, her head stumping against the ground. On stage, the pearl-white DJ unicorn gave the dancers a shark-like grin before levitating a disc onto her mixer spinning wheels. Immediately, the massive bark escaped his beaters, emitting a sound wave strong enough to frazzle out the mares of nearby ponies and send a jolt through Featherweight's body. Not exactly the kind of music I want for a date, but it's okay, I guess. Not to Scootaloo. She went down. The filly took a half step towards him, her body already beginning to sway under the hypnotic beat of the dub trot the DJ was firing. That was when the realization hit him. He didn't know how to dance. Uh-oh, he said aloud, followed by a flurry of mental blows. Idiot! Now what? He winced. Should I tell her? I mean, it's sort of normal. This music's nice and all that, and she probably won't mind. We could always do something else, or she could teach me. The thought of a filly's body next to his as she gently coaxed him into the complex steps both unnerved him and twisted his lips into a giddy smile. I like that. Anyway, any understanding mare would be okay with this, right? Something wrong? She asked, shouting over the din as she kicked out in time with the music. You're not dancing! Well, he began loudly, scraping the neck of a forehoof. I sort of don't know how to dance, maybe. You don't know how to dance? Really? Scootaloo asked, her deadpan carrying over the strongest wubs. Not really, maybe you could teach me? He asked, taking a hopeful step towards her. Come on, show me what you got. Then we'll see what we're working with. That's the best answer she's given me all night. With a fluttering of his wings, an excited huff, the Pegasus began, swaying his hips side to side like an eager puppy. He began to bob his head and take alternating steps forwards and backs. Like this? He asked a half second, before tripping over his own hoof and meeting the ground with a violent thump. Scootaloo's hoof crashed into her face, sending the balloon tethered to it flopping her around as she sighed in exasperation. No, not like that, like this! With a quick hop back, the filly fell into a series of twists, bobs, and twirls, the music seeming to flow into her, moving her like a perfectly coordinated marionette. Eyes closed, the filly seemed to twist and fall into a trance, as the notes and cascading sounds swelled and dimmed around her. Then suddenly she started. Scootaloo stopped. And that's how you dance! Uh-huh. Can you do that first bit again, but slower? The filly threw her hooves into the air, groaning in frustration. The tight little knot that held her balloon forehoof rent, sliding apart with a tiny zip that set the balloon free. Both of them stared at the balloon as it floated upwards. I'll get it! Featherweight said, before he gave 2 strong beats of wings. It is sort of my fault, I guess. Nicole thought as he steadily climbed into the air and out the speaker's line of fire. Again, he flapped his wings, gaining some altitude before he snapped at the bleeding horn and attached the balloon. Got it! The spoils of his victory held firmly in his mouth. The Featherweight allowed gravity to do its part and pulled him back towards solid ground. With a muffled thump, he landed at Scootaloo's side, happily knowing that the DJ had taken a break. Here you go, he said, trying to hoof the object over. Scootaloo batted the object away, freeing the balloon from his clutches and allowing it to fumble through the air. I don't want it. But you were just... Why did you have to be such a show-off? she accused him, Wade snapping out angrily. A show-off? He repeated. What's he talking about? Yeah, with all your flying and stuff. Scootaloo buffed, sitting down dejectedly, twisting her gaze away from him to glare at the stage. Can't even dance. But, I mean, she just... No. I tried to show her she was important to me. I tried to make this night special, romantic, what all ponies dream of in their visit of a perfect date. I even tried to give her stupid balloon back. You're mean. The filly turned her attention back to him, blinking as he repeated his statement to herself. Not mean, just... You're not my type. You're late, you don't appreciate small gestures. You're brash, cocky, and think being cool is the best thing in the world. All you do is try to suck up to Rainbow Dash all day long, as if she's some sort of goddess. He stomped himself to the ground, voice getting strange as his confidence grew. You're real nice, but only to your friends. You're a hard worker, too. But instead of using that talent for others, you keep it selflessly to yourself. Honestly, Scootaloo, you're one of the prettiest fillies I've ever seen. Featherweight bit his cheek, allowing only an embarrassed smile to escape. You're athletic, resourceful, and a bit of a tomcoat. You're just... He shrugged. Not for me. I'm sorry. Scootaloo stepped toward him, confusion and fear playing across her delicate features. But you... I don't love you anymore. Bye. Featherweight walked by the filly. His chest pained, but lighter than it had been in days. This is for the best, he thought, not an ounce of doubt within him. He walked, leaving the filly in her corner of the dance floor, as the DJ started another song. This one a light melodious tune from a cello, mixed with the weeping tunes of a violin. Now what? He sighed, the new-found well of contentment quickly running dry as he unconsciously made his way towards Sugar Cube Corner. That's it? Years and years of crushing on her, and it just ends like that? He shook his head. No, it wasn't meant to be. We just weren't compatible. Why didn't I see it earlier? His footsteps turned from dull thuds to excited clacks as he entered the pastry and candy shop. Within, very little had changed to accommodate the party. Streamers hung from more places than usual, and a banner was strung across the ceiling with the words Spring Fling across it. But no other decoration was present. Featherweight did a quick 360, looking around the area around the store. We didn't let Pinky have her way for once. A mature voice explained from beyond the counter. Blinking, Featherweight faced the yellow, apron-wearing pony at the counter. Hello, Featherweight. Oh, hi, Mr. Cake. How are you doing? The Pegasus blurted. From behind the counter, a set of double doors swung open, allowing Mrs. Cake to sweep out of the kitchen, a tray full of cupcakes in mouth, and a thick aroma of marshmallows and baking batter behind her. Hi, hon. I was just going to add some fib to the fib. Be right back, she said. All right, my love, the husband replied, stretching out to smooth her cheek as he tried by. Featherweight sighed at the open display of care, prompting the older stallion to turn his attention to him. Is everything all right, son? Oh, yeah? I'm fine. The stallion barked with a laugh. Ha ha, you don't look fine, he said, before leaning forward on his elbows. I'll bet she has a pain in the heart, right? He asked, waggling his eyebrows. Featherweight returned a small smile. Yeah, I guess it is. How does you two, work? My dear Honey Buckskin and I? Well, let me tell you. She was one of the cutest little fillies I knew back in her day. He blinked, face reddening a little. Don't tell her I put it that way. I don't like sleeping on the couch. Okay, but was that it? She was pretty? 'Cause I've tried with some really cute mares and, well... You see, that's exactly what you mean, my young sir, Mr. Cake said, pushing himself on the counter. That's not how it works, you see. First you need to find the right one. She has to like you back, and she needs to suit you. Most importantly, you need to suit her. You must be able to put up with you in your little quirks, like licking off the plates or giving candy to the kids wherever they ask. In turn, you need to be able to put up with hers, like the nagging and sleepless nights or in the whole I want a third full things. Or dealing with her very protective, angry, scary, massive a father. Wow, I didn't expect a call back to a sweet taste of cake in this fic. Nice. Huh. So that's why I did work with Scootaloo. I didn't like for who she was deep down, and she didn't care about who I really was. He nodded to himself, glad he had vocalized it all to himself so simply. And yet, the facades of a certain white unicorn lingered in his mind, like an afterimage burned into his retina. Sweetie Belle. Mr. Cake, I think I've made a really big mistake. I see. And what would that be? Well, he began, drawing circles on the floor with the tip of his hoof. There's this one filly that likes me, and I like her too, sort of, but I was kind of busy with another filly. Mr. Cake wants his sympathy. How she takes that? Can't be easy seeing some pony you love fall for another. Yeah, I guess not. Sort of like how I felt between Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash. Only far, far worse. She was okay about it and always supportive, and I guess I started to like her a little, and then a little more. Go on, lad. Featherweight sighed. I want to see her again, tonight. I said some things I regret, and I need to say I'm sorry. What about the other filly? He asked, leading him on. It's over. It would have worked out. And it's not like I'm going to fight Sweet just because I'm not with Scootaloo. It's complicated. You don't look like a mean kid, Mr. King mused. Do you want to know what my father once told me when I was about your age? Once you found a mare you love, and you want to cherish you never, ever let her be alone. Sweetie Belle, she's all alone. Featherweight spun around, eyes roving across the store in a blind attempt to find a trace of pink and purple mane. He's right. I can't just leave her like that. She's perfect. I need to see her. I need to apologize, and I need to... Kid, wait! Mr. Cake shouted at him before diving beneath the counter. Seconds ticked on slowly for Featherweight until the stallion popped back out with a heart-shaped box held in his square jaw. Here! He said, tossing towards Featherweight, who caught it by the bow wrapped around it. Pinky keeps them around in case of a heartbreak emergency. Sounds like your filly friend can use it. Thank you! Featherweight called over his shoulder, tucking the little box into the breast pocket of his coat. Spinning around, the cold gallows of the warm shop, into the refreshing cold night air beyond, filling his lungs as his mind raced. Sweetie Belle! The single name rang in his mind, resonating with a chord that made him both shiver in glee and quake with fear. I'm such an idiot! I have to fight Sweetie Belle! The single order wheeled him forwards. His eyes searched ahead, while his mind searched within. Both worked in tandem as he crossed pony after pony, taking note of nothing but the fact that they were not Sweetie. Can I even ask her anything? Dejectedly, he marched on, eyes as low as he scanned the buffet tables before skimming to his floor. She was so nice to me, the entire time. A little pussy, but always there. Like she really cared for me. He paused, stopping mid-step. She loves me. She honestly loves me. But do I even deserve her forgiveness after all I've done to her? Featherweight asked himself, trying and failing to come up with an answer anywhere near satisfactory. His toes wandered through the party, taking him wherever he had yet to search. His eyes took in nothing but the faint hints of pink and purple. Nothing but a dash of white amidst the pastel crowd. I have to tell her. She needs to know I'm sorry, and that she needs to find somebody better than me to take care of her. Because if I can't forgive myself, how can I expect her to give me a second chance? How can I possibly deserve a second chance? The cold had walked full circle, touching every corner and every nook of the party, finally bringing him back to where he had been at the start. Right in front of the gaudy and bright exterior of Scootaloo Corner, the ever-present scent of baked goods doing little to lift his gloomy mood. Gently he sat, shoulders hunched as he faintly looked at the hundreds of seemingly happy couples milling around. Will I ever be like that? Happy? His eyes lighted on an orange streak, intently focusing on it. Scootaloo was walking the apple bloom's side, both fillies smiling and giggling at their own jokes. Only snatches of the conversations he could pick up filtered out by the crowd. Colts! You can't just make sense of them! Featherweight sighed and pulled back up, straightening his back and puffing out his chest. No! I did the right thing! I only had to say sorry to Sweet, then I can have my life back. All alone. He swallowed past the lump in his throat, preparing to get up and leave, before he heard the faintest of sobs. Featherweight's ears perked, twisting around as he tried to find the source. Just the wind. he idly thought, before the tiny sob repeated itself, followed by the distinct sound of a filly sniffing. Furrowing his brow and falling so deep in an instinct, Featherweight spun around and trotted to the edge of houses running around the town hall, each one a unique building or shop, adding to the town's simple and homely feeling. One house in particular grabbed his attention, a two-story building with a spiral staircase on one side, one that led to a balcony above. There, almost entirely hidden against the building's pastel hue, was a tiny speck of balled-up white. The colt picked up some speed, and hoofbeats thumping against the cobblestone roadway as he headed towards the house, eyes narrowing at the white shape as it came into focus. Sweetbelle walked a hoof across her eyes. Tears rolled off her tan forehead as he pulled it away and sniffled. The simple gesture made Featherweight's heart ache for the filly. "This is my fault. I'm the reason she's sad. I'm the reason she can't even enjoy herself in the spring fling. I turned what should be a fun, happy hangout with her two best friends into a horrible night of loneliness and heartbreak." Featherweight stomped to the ground, uselessly trying to vent his emotions. "I'm the one who caused her to sit up in a stranger house, all alone, and cry herself while her friends are going around and having fun." Featherweight wiped his own tears away, before he leapt into the air, beating his scrawny wings as he rose higher and higher. The self-hatred in his heart weighed the poor Pegasus down, like a hardened stone of guilt. Sweeping upwards, Featherweight climbed under the house and circled around until he came to a light, clattering landing on the roof. Hooves thunding on a thatched roof. With a huff, and without a single panting breath that rushed out of him, along with his reluctance to approach, the filly beyond sobbed again, placing a shivering hoof on the bar of a handrail. "Why can't I be happy too?" What should I say? He wondered, biting his lower lip as he peeked over the edge. Below him, he could see the perfect mane of Sweetbelle, now all tousled and frizzled, as the filly sobbed and cried. Does it really matter? Closing his eyes and taking a deep breath, Featherweight stepped over the edge, his wings snapping out at his sides. The filly jumped, gasping, blinking madly as he glided down onto the balcony, landing with a thump that reverberated through the metallic structure. For a moment, both stood still, eyes locked in a mixture of shock, determination, awe, and simple companionship as they remained immobile. Both opened their mouths at the same time, and both shut them with the same shortened shiver. Featherweight swallowed his fear and took a tiny half-step forwards. I'm sorry, Sweetbelle." The filly looked at him, eyes wandering over it as uncertainty and fear crossed her face. You don't," she stuttered, backing away. "No, I messed up again. I can't. Please forgive me," he begged. Sweetbelle took a moment of quiet, studying him while her freezing furs on panic panting. I already told you, Featherweight. I. She stopped, swallowing hard. "I want you to be with Scootaloo. I want you to be happy," she said, eyes sliding to the ground as she gazed at both her hosts, both of them twisting up and down as she shifted her weight from side to side. "No! You don't understand!" Featherweight took another step towards the filly, one hoof raising up as if trying to touch her, then hesitated and let it fall back down. "I am happy, Sweetbelle. I used to love Scootaloo. No, I used to love her with all my heart. I wanted to be with her, to be near her, and for her to like me back." He smiled innocently, shaking his head in denial. "But then I met a filly that showed me compassion. He helped me with my goals, and I could never repay her completely. She was the only one that truly loves me and could say it out loud. I was blind and didn't notice that my true love, the mirror of my dreams, was the one in front of my eyes. I couldn't even see it." He looked at her. She looked back. A pair of brown eyes locked with a pair of green, the two young ponies sharing their hearts and souls in that single glance. "Not till now." The colt said in a whisper, "I'm so sorry." A slow smile crossed her lips as she averted her eyes, cheeks reddening as she wiped away some of the tears. I forgive you, gladly." Thanks. Thank you very much. For everything," he said, knowing every word was truthful. "You're welcome," she said softly, before both began to shuffle, at a loss of what to say or do. Sweetbelle shifted her attention to the beyond balcony and the dance floor below. Featherweight gently tapped to her side, his folded wing whispering against her coat, and a fastened sent shivers down her spines. Is that what you were looking at before? He asked with a soft voice. She nodded. I was watching them dance. On the ground, dozens of couples were twirling in slow circles to the haunting refrain of a cello, played by a stone gray earth pony. Isn't it pretty? She breathed. The way you turn and play and dance? I find you beautiful. She said, eyes locked on a young couple dancing hoof and hoof, standing tall as their bodies were held close to one another. It is. Wolf laughed. An idea crossed his mind. I'm not much of a dancer, but, well, would you like to dance, Lady Belle? Immediately, tears sprang back to her eyes, making the filly blink rapidly. Oh no, I just something stupid again. I love that, she said, a gigantic smile spreading across her face and puffy wet cheeks. So would I, he admitted, a sheepish grin to match her own appearing on his face. Although, you might have to teach me a little. What if I... With a quick hop into the air and beat of his wings, Featherweight hovered above her, then maneuvered until he was right beside her. Gently, and under the curious eyes of the filly, he lowered his forehoofs and gently grabbed her beneath his arms. I'll be careful, just me, all right? Belle twisted her head around, looking at him with not a sliver of fear. Okay, I trust you, she whispered excitedly, her breath coming out with a puff of smoke-like air in the chilly night. His face mere millimeters from hers, Featherweight hoisted the light filly, and his wings beat furiously. They lifted into the air, Belle hanging below him with her rear legs sleeping beneath her as he giggled. He glided forwards, taking his time and allowing her to enjoy the glorious view. From their vantage point, the entire party stretched out before them, a collection of lights and banners that all waved under a canopy of brilliant stars. The shining jewel of the event, though, was not the banners and lantern lights, but the ponies. Smiling couples and giggling friends, signs of joy and peace and love that abounded that night. All of it was accompanied by the constant beat of his powerful little wings. Too soon, Belle slashed to the ground, her hose skimming across the cobblestone, as Featherweight deposited her before rolling into the side and landed nearby. Sorry, he said. I just wanted to enjoy that, I guess. She touched the hoof against her chest. Thank you. It was beautiful. On stage, the cello playing mare stopped. Nerissa held hope to her tiny podium, flicking a page before raising her bow once more. There's gonna be another song. Featherweight nodded, reluctantly taking a step towards the mare. A tune from Rava's collection. He bowed, one hoof folding beneath him, while the other bent, supporting his weight as his head lowered to the ground. Would you offer me this dance, milady? With pleasure, Belle giggled, the simple sound of pleasure and mirth sending shockwaves through his bones. As one, they made their way to the floor, weaving around a few couples present, until they found a quiet nook for themselves at the far end, close enough to hear music, yet still far from the center of attention. Belle touched string, and the music began. Blushing, Belle stepped up to Featherweight, and wordlessly showed him what to do. They reared up, both unsteady on their hooves, until they smashed into each other, Featherweight gingerly placing a forehoof around Belle's waist, while his other touched hers. Like this? He asked, all of his senses attuned to the filly, not a hair's breadth beneath him. Yeah, it's perfect. She sighed as they wobbled in a quick circle. The music's slow tempo and soothing melody played in the air around them, reverberating to their very hearts. Again and again they stepped and twisted, slowly falling into the rhythm of the dance. I think I'm getting the hang of this, he thought, looking at the pretty filly held in his hoofs. All of this. Featherweight tripped. It was nothing spectacular, just a simple misstep that sent him sprawling onto his back and pulling the reared filly onto him. Belle crashed it to his chest, emptying his lungs in a single whoosh. Featherweight coughed and laughed at the same time. The oddly comforting way the filly above him moved around, her giggling joining his. I'm sorry, he said between laughs, as he unfurled his wings beneath him, creating a canopy on the ground they were on. A single low, piercing whistle seared through the air, making every pony freeze and look up to the single comet-like street, blasting towards the night sky. Featherweight followed the object's trajectory, a smile crossing his feathers as the firework reached its peak and exploded, sending out a volley of twinkling lights accompanied by a pop. "Isn't it beautiful?" he asked, tracing the pattern of multi-hued lights against the sky until he whispered out of existence. "It's the prettiest thing I've ever seen." Featherweight's gaze turned to the villain on him, eyes locked into his. They never moved. "I love you, Featherweight." The cult moved forwards, his breath mixing with hers. Their eyes closed as their lips met, the sounds of pyrotechnic display and awestruck ponies melting away as they became lost on each other. Featherweight had to struggle with all his might to break the kiss, to speak to his new paramour. "I love you too,"